X-Men number 137 by Chris Claremont and John Byrne witnessed an epic fight between the X-Men and the Imperial Guard of the Shi'ar Empire to determine the fate of Jean Grey as the Phoenix. The book opens with the Watcher, who says that he beheld the birth and the death of Jean Grey, and her rebirth as the Phoenix. She became one with a primal force, second only to that of the Creator, but it was more power than she or any other human could control. The force twisted Jean's soul until the Phoenix was transfigured into the Dark Phoenix. The X-Men fought to save Jean and to return her to humanity, and they succeeded after an epic battle. But at the very moment of their triumph, the X-Men vanished from the face of the Earth. The X-Men find themselves transported into the Shi'ar starship in the midst of a massive gathering from across the Shi'ar galaxy. Majestrix Lilandra, the Empress of the Shi'ar Empire, tells the X-Men that they are friends and allies, but her first responsibility is to ensure the safety of her people and the entire universe. Therefore, Phoenix must be destroyed. The Shi'ar had no quarrel with the Phoenix, as Lilandra thought the Phoenix was a beneficent entity, and that Jean would cope with her godlike abilities, but she was wrong. When the Phoenix returned to the Shi'ar space, she had been transformed into a chaos bringer and ravager of worlds. She consumed the star Debari, and as the sun died, so died its planets and their 5 billion inhabitants. A Shi'ar warship intercepted Phoenix and fought her, but she destroyed the ship as well. Lilandra says that she has no alternative, and that the X-Men must surrender Jean or suffer the consequences. Cyclops tells Lilandra that she is speaking about the Dark Phoenix, which no longer exists. Jean's power is under control now, and she is no threat to the Shi'ar Empire or the universe. Lilandra says that as long as Phoenix exists, in any form at any power level, she is a deadly threat to all lives and must be destroyed. Charles Xavier, however, intervenes and challenges the Imperial Guard in a duel of honor for Jean's life. Lilandra tells Charles that she has to consult this matter with her allies, the Kree and the Skrulls. The Supreme Intelligence of the Kree says that the X-Men will fight for Jean's life because they are stubborn but honorable at the same time, and announces that the Kree has no objection to the duel, nor does the Empress of the Skrulls, provided that the X-Men are not permitted to win. To ensure this, representatives from the Kree and the Skrulls are required to put their differences aside and monitor the battle. With everything settled, the X-Men are teleported to the blue area of the moon, to be joined by the Imperial Guard shortly after. Cyclops divides the X-Men into 2 teams and tells Beast to make use of the ruins, adopting hit-and-run tactics. Oracle of the Shi'ar blocks Jean's telepathic powers to prevent her from reading their thoughts, before attacking the X-Men with a massive fire blast by Starbolt. Meanwhile, the second X-Men team travels into the underground tunnels and clashes with Cecil and Beanie, who form the War Star. They offer the X-Men honorable surrender or honorable death, causing the X-Men to attack them. Colossus hits Cecil, while Beanie attacks Beast. Wolverine and Storm are about to intervene, but Gladiator rips the floor beneath them and knocks them into some sort of pit. Storm manages to catch Wolverine, and they land safely, near a building made of pure crystal. They confront another Imperial Guard, known as Earthquake, who creates a tremor and knocks Wolverine into the crystal building. Storm fights back and hurls the paved stones at Earthquake, but she doesn't notice Hussar, who attacks her with her neuro-whip from behind, allowing Earthquake to deliver the final blow and knock Storm out cold. Wolverine wakes up inside the crystal building and wonders how to get out, but suddenly finds himself face to face with the Watcher, who tells Wolverine that this is his domicile and that he is not welcome in there. The Watcher knocks Wolverine out of his home to find Storm waiting for him, but Wolverine quickly realizes that this is not the real Storm, as she tries to strangle him. He throws her away, revealing that it's Raxor the Skrull, disguising as Storm. Wolverine attacks the Skrull, but Beldan the Kree warrior blasts him away and mocks Raxor for being terrified to defend himself, and reminds him that they are meant to be observers and not combatants. Raxor can't stand getting saved by the Kree, and shapeshifts into a bestial creature, then attacks him. Meanwhile, Colossus manages to defeat Cecil, and that's when B'ni hits Beast with a massive jolt of electricity. Colossus is about to interfere to save Beast, but Gladiator attacks him and tells him that he must go through him first, before attacking any other Imperial Guard. Gladiator knocks Colossus down with a punch, but Colossus tanks the blow and hits Gladiator with a massive structure. Gladiator doesn't even budge and engages Colossus in a fierce fight that destroys everything around them, but in the end, Gladiator emerges victorious. Meanwhile, Jean and Cyclops bravely fight the Imperial Guard and remember the day they first met. They were young and in love. They were heroes, and today, they will prove it again. Gladiator and the guards come to aid their comrades, and that's when Jean unleashes her Phoenix power and quickly defeats Gladiator and the guards. Charles telepathically contacts Cyclops and tells him to attack Phoenix while she is still weak. Cyclops reluctantly obeys and destroys a nearby building with his optic beams, forcing million tons of steel to topple towards Phoenix, who manages to save herself with a telekinetic shield, but the impact still hammers her to her knees, because her power, although awesome, has limits, and she has reached them now. Storm then creates a massive tornado and hits Phoenix with it, while Wolverine performs a reverse fastball special and launches Colossus at Phoenix, telling him that he will only have one shot, so he must make sure that when Phoenix goes down, she won't be getting up. Colossus remarks that he will never kill a friend, but still punches Jean and manages to knock her down. Jean thanks Colossus for pulling his punch, which knocked some sense back into her. She explains that Jean Grey and the Phoenix are two separate and unique beings, bound together, and can't exist without each other. As long as Jean lives, the Phoenix will manifest itself through her, and will inevitably become Dark Phoenix. The Phoenix is a cosmic power that can't be contained nor controlled by a human vessel, and must be returned to the cosmos by killing Jean. Jean then runs into a tunnel with Cyclops right behind, but she traps him in a telekinetic shield and tells him that she can barely control the Phoenix. Therefore, there is no other choice but for the Phoenix and her to die. She can't forget that she killed 5 billion people and doesn't want any more deaths on her conscience. Cyclops watches in horror as Jean triggers one of the long-dormant Kree laser cannon into blasting her, incinerating her body. With Jean dead, Cyclops breaks down in tears as he realizes that she had planned her death from the moment they landed on the moon. Jean could not become Dark Phoenix and remain true to herself, and that's why she decided to end her life. She must have read the minds of the Kree and the Skrull observers and learned what ancient weapons were hidden here. She used her fight with the X-Men to drain her of enough energy to make her vulnerable. So that was the tragic death of Jean Grey, and how the X-Men fought the Imperial Guard over her fate. Colossus puts up a great fight against the more powerful Gladiator, and proves durable enough to survive his punch. Hope you liked the video. Don't forget to subscribe, share, and like. Thanks for watching, and have a nice one.